The reason for the false book box will be clear soon, don't worry. Hello and welcome back to Jenna Gets Creative. Let's do another no box art box. I don't think I've ever tackled a smart art box offering in this challenge before, so this will be interesting. I'm going to explain everything in a minute, but first, if you're new here, welcome. Thanks for coming. My name is Jenna, and I'm a freelance illustrator, editor, and book reviewer, and this little corner of YouTube is where I make art with commentary, review books and art supplies, talk about other geekery, and collaborate with fellow artists. If that sounds like your kind of content, don't forget to hit subscribe before you leave. And if everyone could help me appease the algorithm overlord by hitting the like button and leaving a comment, that would be very much appreciated. So what is the No Box Art Box Challenge? It's a simple challenge I came up with back in 2018. Recreate art subscription boxes using items you already own. There are so many reasons to do it. Maybe you can't afford the service right now, maybe you're already subscribed to a different one, maybe you missed a month and really want to try it, maybe you want to try the service before you actually pay for it, or maybe you've got too many art supplies to justify actually subscribing. Or maybe you can think of another reason. Whatever the reason is, the rules are simple. Step 1. Pick any art or craft subscription box, pick a past month that already shipped, and look up the contents. Step 2. Match the supplies as close as possible using items you already own. No shopping specifically for a particular box. Exact matches are fine as long as you're not using this challenge to redo a box you actually got in the past. If that's the case, use the next closest match you can find. Step 3. Make art. If the original box had a challenge prompt or theme, try to stick to it. Only add missing essentials, such as a pencil or a piece of paper. If you share your artwork from this challenge on social media, use the hashtag NoBoxArtbox, and if you post to YouTube, send me a link. I curate a master playlist for this challenge, and I would love to add your videos to it. As per usual, with all of my Artbox videos, I'll have the box contents in the description box down below, along with MSRP, real-world price research, converted prices in US dollars, Canadian dollars, and Great British pounds, and calculations that show whether or not the cost of the box was actually worth it for customers in the USA, Canada, and the UK. I've taken the MSRPs for Faber-Castell products directly off the Faber-Castell website, and all others from the list price column on Blick. Smart Art Box is by far one of the most expensive monthly art supply boxes going, but instead of sending a single project or a smattering of somewhat related items, Smart Art Box sends a huge selection of full-size supplies, information on how to use them, and a month's worth of prompts to play along. These boxes will truly keep you occupied all month and last a lot longer than that, and all of the items always actually go together. The value of these boxes go far beyond the price of the items inside, so keep that in mind when you're looking at my calculations. First item in the July 2021 Smart Art Box was a 3-pack of synthetic paintbrushes from the RealValue line by Princeton. The particular set they sent included a number 3 round brush and a number 2 and number 6 shader brushes, and this set has an MSRP value of $4.95 US. I don't have the perfect brushes to replicate this set, but the point is that these are smaller sized synthetic bristle brushes suitable for watercolor in round and shader shapes. I'm using a Curry's 2400 series number 4 round, a Silver Silk 88 number 4 flat shader, and an Opus Gold Sable series 850 1/4-inch flat brush. The 1/4-inch flat brush you'll see me hold up in the unboxing was actually my Dynasty black and gold flat brush, but as you'll see when I start using it, it needs a serious cleaning. Apparently I last used it in black ink of some sort. I swapped that for the exact same brush by a different brand. Next up is a trio of Marabu Graphix Aqua inks in the primary colors. I've squinted at the official Smart Art Box channel unboxing video, and I believe they're using Cyan, Carmine, and Sunshine Yellow, so those are the shades I've pulled out. I love these inks. They're somewhat reworkable, like a watercolor marker, rather than completely permanent once dry like an India ink, but they're still remarkably light fast, unlike a dye-based drawing ink. These have an open stock MSRP value of $3.29 each for a total of $9.87 US. If you're interested in getting started with these, what I actually did when I bought mine was go with the 6 ink plus bonus brush starter set and then added a couple more open stock colors. It's called the Floaty set, and it comes with lemon, vermilion, magenta, cyan, mint, and black in the inks, and a number 6 round brush. I already had Dark Violet from a Sketchbox, and then I bought open stock bottles of Carmine, Sunshine Yellow, Dark Ultramarine, and Dark Brown. They have other colors, but I don't think I need them. They do blend wonderfully. Okay, we're doing the alternatives a little bit differently this time. I'm recording the audio live. For both of these, the liquid watercolors and any of the other water-soluble supplies you're going to see, you can replace them with exactly the same things. I'll talk about these first, because obviously this is what we're talking about first. You can replace these with any other colored inks. These are India inks. Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay India inks. Dye-based drawing inks like this Winsor Newton ink. Actual watercolor, just plain old actual watercolor. Any sort of water-soluble watercolor pencil, Derwent Inktense, any of those kind of pencils. Or water-soluble markers. This one, the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer watercolor marker. This actually is watercolor paint in a marker, similar to the Winsor Newton watercolor markers, but you know, a water-soluble marker that dissolves completely is good enough. It doesn't have to be paint pigment. Next in the box was a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen Black Soft Brush, and these have an MSRP value of $3.95 US. These are pretty standard light-fast black pigment ink in the same barrels as the fine liners. Comparison purposes on the Faber-Castell brush pen, there's the regular brush that I'm going to be using because it's black. Here's the soft brush in a dark blue color. What is this? Dark indigo, which I'm not using because it's the wrong color, but as you can see, they're visually almost the same. The soft brush is a bit longer. It comes to a point slower. It's more tapered. Shouldn't matter all that much. If you don't have a brush pen, just any black pen will do. The point here is black ink, but many other companies make brush points and tapered points. The Sakura Pigma Micron and the Tombow Fudenosuke both have this tapered plastic nib that's semi-flexible. The PN on the Micron actually stands for plastic nib. And then you have all of these different companies that are making brush nibs that are very similar to what you see on that Faber-Castell. Here's a Marabu brush nib, very similar to the STA, the STA, and I've seen Pentalic makes a very similar one. This is just a no-name double-ended calligraphy brush from Wish. This is an Edding. This is Sakura's Pigma, the professional line, the BB. And this is a dual-ended, dual-color calligraphy brush pen from Kuretake. Next was the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen 1.5 bullet nib marker in white. Don't say bullet in the comments. It's one of those words that usually gets your comment thrown out by the moderator bots. Someone always tests it. 1 in 10 sticks around. Just take my word for it. This is a white India ink in a bullet nib marker similar to an acrylic marker nib, but if I remember correctly from the one I had, it is not a pump marker and you should not try to press the nib. It will disappear into the barrel. They have an MSRP value of $3.70 US at this size, and they go up quite a bit with the larger nib sizes. I don't have any India ink white markers, so I'm using a Uniposca acrylic marker in an equivalent nib size. For that Faber-Castell white pen, it does look very similar to this Uniposca nib, except the Faber-Castell pen is a India ink. I did actually have one long ago from a different subscription box, but it sucked. The ink was not opaque, the nib kept coming out, I threw it out. White is one of those things that artists are always trying to replicate, so there are many options. You can use white drawing ink, white India ink, white acrylic ink, white acrylic paint, opaque white, liquid pencil, pastel, gouache. Gansai Tambi, this is a fairly opaque watercolor. It does dry with a bit of a sheen to it. Basic white gel pen, white pastel pencil, white colored pencil. So many options for white. Pick whatever works for you. The final non-paper item was the 11-piece Faber-Castell Intro to Watercolors with Gelato pack. This included 8 gelato crayons, a water brush, a fairly large square mixing palette, and an instructional booklet, and this has an MSRP value of $24.95 US. I'm not going to bother replicating the booklet, but I've thrown in a Magicfly round water brush just to say it's there. I won't be using it, and I'm using a ceramic plate for the mixing surface. As for the gelatos, these are water-soluble wax artist crayons in a push-up tube like a lip gloss. I happen to have exactly 2, and one is a fairly transparent shimmery white, so that won't do. This set has a rainbow of colors in red, orange, yellow, green, light blue, purple, pink, and black. I couldn't see exact color names anywhere. I'll be using my orange gelato in the shade Mango, and for all of the other colors, I've picked out Conte sticks since these are water soluble as well. They're not primarily made for watercolor work, so it's going to produce a desaturated chalky effect, but sometimes that's the look you want. I'm going for a very loose illustrative style, and I'm going to use the chalky textures this gives the piece to compensate for the fact that I won't be worrying about actual proper shading. The reason for the big goofy book box is because that's the only thing that would fit this ceramic plate. This is what I will be using in place of the vinyl mixing surface from the Faber-Castell gelato set. Really, just about anything can work. Your basic dollar store plastic wells, mixing palettes, a lid. I don't spend much on my mixing palettes. I have these, and I have a plastic one in white of basically this. And that's it for actually intended for paint mixing palettes. I've got this ceramic plate, I've got these ceramic ramekins. These are both dollar store products. This came in a 3-pack. I have an ice cube tray, I have a sushi sauce dish, and I have a whole bunch of different lids. Seriously, I have a box full of these lids. They make great mixing surfaces. They're easy to clean off. If you can't get them clean, then you finally throw them out. As you can probably see by now, I've gone with hot air balloons in a chaotic rainbow patches pattern. I only ended up using the cyan liquid ink, I didn't touch the smaller shader brush, and I didn't use the water brush. But if you were to receive the actual box and do all of the weekly challenges, you'll probably end up using it all. It's a great starter selection for non-traditional watercolors. You'll see me using the Faber-Castell black pen at the very end to add my darker line work. You can use it first. It is waterproof once dry, but brush pens tend to lay down more ink than fine liner nibs, so you would have to wait longer than you expect before it's dry enough to not reactivate and smudge when you start using the watercolors. I did my sketching with a Prismacolor Kohl Erase pencil in the shade Lavender, and I chose that because they are slightly water soluble and the lavender shade is on the lighter side, so I knew it wouldn't be particularly visible in the end. You can still see it most where the cables go down from the balloons to the baskets, since I chose to not overwhelm that area with black, but I do think that the colorful sketchy effect that leaves is quite nice, and I could easily have left that bit of color there with the purple Conte, so it's all good. If you're looking for more to watch, I've got some suggestions up on the left side of the screen now. Don't forget to like, comment, maybe even subscribe, and if you like living life creatively, whatever that means to you, I'd love to have you along for the ride. Bye guys!